Today, we're going to talk about crystals and specifically how crystals can boost your income. So, there's a lot of energy and power in crystals. I mean, the real authentic crystals and gemstones. They hold a lot of concentrated energy. And also, there's a lot of information out there about the power crystals and what different ones can do for you. And some of this is incorrect, or it gives you just a piece of the information. It's like incomplete information. So, for example, this is how this is how I kind of got a hold of some misinformation, and it wasn't really good for me, right? So I'll tell you my story. I heard that the orange citrine crystal is helpful in attracting money, right? So, and I thought this was a great idea to put a crystal inside my wallet. This is an orange citrine, right? So I found one that fit into my wallet, like in my little purse thing, zipped it in there, and I was super happy. I thought, oh, great, this is going to really help my financial situation. But the problem was, right, like days turned into weeks, into months, and my financial situation never really improved, but it kind of got worse, right? Like I got further into debt. So years later, right? But I persisted because that's kind of who I am. I'm like, well, I just got to keep doing this because maybe I just, the crystal needs to be there for longer. Um, but years later, I learned what orange really does. So, orange is a great energy for dissolving obstacles, for removing obstacles in your way, and for cleansing. And this is an important part of preparing for manifestation, right? Removing your obstacles so you're cleared and clean for manifesting, materializing what you want. But it's not a great energy to hold in the wallet because it will clean out your wallet. And that's exactly what it did. The citrine crystal did its job. It cleaned out my wallet. It wasn't exactly what I intended, but I only had a piece of the information. So, what is the best crystal for materialization, for expansion and prosperity? It's any real, authentic red crystal. So, red garnet, ruby, it doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to be a real, authentic crystal that has a natural red color. The other important and very neglected, often neglected, or people just don't know the neglected part of using crystals, you have to actually clean the crystal. You have to remove its previous imprints, right? So removing dirty energy that has accumulated from other people handling it, touching it, from the previous owner, or even your old energy. Maybe you were wearing your red crystal or any crystal and you had a bad day, you got really stressed out, or you had a fight with somebody. Sorry, we have the usual barking dog. Um, but that energy has to be cleaned, right? So I'm going to tell you a little story. There was a woman that suffered from chronic and debilitating knee pain. And this knee pain had no explanation, right? She went to see doctors, they did like x-rays and scans and all that stuff. And there was just actually no reason for the pain and the chronic discomfort. So she finally, in desperation, sought the help of energy healers. And she went to an energy healing center, and they all tried. There were really, really proficient healers there, and they tried really hard, but they could not lessen the pain. They could not like even kind of diminish the level of the pain and discomfort she was feeling in that knee. So finally, somebody noticed that she was wearing an antique looking, beautiful ruby ring. And the woman said, right, when they asked about it, oh, this was my mother's ring. She said this was her mother's ring, who actually passed away after a long and painful battle with cancer. So they were like, oh my gosh, right? So they immediately asked her to remove the ring. They, of course, cleansed the ring, removed all the dirty energy. But the interesting thing was, after the ring was removed from her hand and they did the healing again, the healing was successful this time. She was pain-free. The pain started to diminish. She had more mobility in that knee. So do you see how the crystals can actually be really, really powerful, right? And they hold a lot of energy, either like the good energy and of course, they hold the bad energy too. So before I finish today's live, I want to give you a warning, a couple of warnings, just in case you decide to just run out now and get yourself a bunch of red crystals and just load yourself up with red jewelry in order to attract, right, prosperity, right? Because red crystals, if they're cleaned out, they attract money. They expand your root chakra. Crystals, once cleansed, are even more charged with their natural energy, right? So red is a particularly potent color, and it will help materialize, manifest whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're intensely feeling. So if you're wearing, for example, red rings or red jewelry, and you're having a very bad day, you will quickly materialize more bad stuff, right? You will draw it to you because that red ring or that red crystal, wherever you're wearing, is going to magnify whatever your dominant vibration is. So it's not a sort of jewelry you really want to wear unless you really have gone through this thorough cleansing process and you're just, yes, cleansed through, you're very focused on what you want, or you're very in a state of gratitude and focusing on what good things are happening to you, then great, yeah, for that time being, wear that red ring. Otherwise, I wouldn't really recommend it. The other warning regarding where you should wear your red crystals, right? Do not wear red crystals anywhere above the solar plexus chakra, so anywhere above your abdomen. The higher chakras are very sensitive, and they're too sensitive for the red energy, and this red energy can, over time, harm or negatively affect your heart, your physical heart, and your head, right? Like your brain and eyes and all that stuff. So I wouldn't be wearing big red pendants, red earrings with, real red crystals. I'm not talking about like costume jewelry. So no, again, beware of that, especially if they're cleansed, because a cleansed crystal is even more potent, right, than one that's dirty, right, or one that's been kind of globbed. It's got a lot of like old energy, so it's not quite as radiating that red. And of course, with exceptions, I wouldn't, if that person, the previous owner, you like, for example, you went to an antique shop, you got yourself some red earrings, you don't know who was the previous owner of those red earrings or how many people went through that shop and handled those red earrings and what stuff they're carrying, what stress, what negativity, what diseases they're carrying, and what's embedded in that crystal. So it's a warning for purchasing any secondhand crystals or buying them from a shop. Please cleanse. So how do you cleanse a crystal? So simply take the crystal, run it under water, right? Like just open up like your sink, run it under water and gently rub it with a little bit of salt. And then you must instruct the crystal to dissolve, remove, cleanse itself from any dirty or congested energy you might have. Right. So in summary, because I know I gave you a ton of information today, red crystals are extremely potent. Authentic red crystals are extremely potent in drawing, materializing, manifesting stuff, right? So it will greatly expand your root chakra. Warning, do not wear a red crystal if you are going through a difficult time, you're having a bad day, maybe you're prone to negative thinking. It wouldn't be right for you to wear a red crystal. It's just going to magnify, it's going to draw more of that to you, right? So that's warning number one. Warning number two, cleanse your crystals. This pertains to any crystals, not only your red ones. Cleanse them, clean them. You don't know where they were, what energy they're carrying. And I told you just a second ago how to do that. Number three, do not wear red crystals or even orange crystals. That's also a little bit of a harsher energy above the solar plexus chakra. Over time, it can have a negative effect on your organs and those higher chakras. This is just a more sensitive area of the body. Okay. And there's, of course, more information on how to properly use red crystals. Any questions, any comments, please free to put them down in the comment box or email me, let me know. I'll be happy to do further lives on the questions or the things that you're curious about. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I don't like to make these too long. And thank you for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow.